we talk about freedom and wanting to travel and doing all these things. I'm literally, I'm so just disgusted at a situation that has become mainstream. And I don't know if you've been following it, Chad, but it's all over the news. It's this Gabby Petito gal, and man, what a mess. And today they found they found her body a couple days ago. They did the autopsy today and have confirmed that it was a homicide. And now the fiance is nowhere to be found. He has fled. He's in hiding. For all I know, he took his life. But man, holy cow. What do you think about all this?
So how did all of this start? Because she was like reported missing.
So it started with the two of them were going to go across the country, and travel and kind of document. And that's like the kind of weird era that we're in right now. We've got like these people who, want to be influencers and like they want to document their travels and then have people watch them. And I guess she was making like a travel YouTube channel, either YouTube or TikTok or something like that. And social media, Instagram stories. And so they're traveling across the country. They get out west, and to some of the national parks. They're getting in fights. They're with each other. There's domestic abuse. End up, having police pull them over at one point and kind of.
Is this all like recorded and documented as a part of their journey?
Dude, actually, they released the body cam footage going full circle on our whole show here of the police have body cam footage of the two of them. And it appears like she's the crazy one, like that she's attacking him and doing all this stuff. And you just know better. I know. I've been in relationships. I know.
We're going to see this on the Oxygen channel soon.
I mean, it's all over CNN.
The ID channel.
I mean, a lot of people jumped on it. So what was interesting is, I think, a lot of people go, well, why follow this one? Why, people go missing all the time, or there's things that go on. Well, yes, but there were so many people who love those shows, who love, the whodunit shows. And this had a lot of video content where you could see the progression of their trip and see some issues and cracks in the armor and the way he would talk to her. And then like she had, just some issues, and so people are like, what's going on here? And then she's texting her mom, and then it appears that at some point he took over her phone and basically was impersonating her, and so I just think it's really, really interesting that this is now turned into almost a domestic abuse situation that has led to some very deadly consequences. We just got to know what happened. So I want to ask you, what do you think happened?
To be honest, I have not followed it at all. I may be taking a very offensive and insensitive point of view on this, but I'm really having a hard time trying to understand, some of these things that get pushed out in the media like this. Because I oftentimes see that, in conversations, I hear people start to talk about things like, well, what if it was your daughter? What if it was your son? Right? What if it was your family? Well, that's just fear. It's just putting fear into people. And that keeps people from not to go this route with it, not to be cliche or anything, but it just keeps people from worrying more about their safety instead of their liberty, right? And I just, that's why I don't follow a lot of these things. That's why I don't know about a lot of these things, because I see the stories, I just keep scrolling on. That's terrible that happened, and I don't wish that upon anyone, because I don't think anyone should have to fall into that. But with that, I think to myself, I got my own life to live, and I don't want to be sucked up into this fear-driven media push, right? And it comes from both sides of the aisle. There's not this is not a right versus left thing.
No, and I mean, I think that's where a lot of people can actually get some unity. That it was her fiance, so I mean, they were planning on getting married. For what it's worth, so working through their issues. They are awfully young. I don't know what their ages were, but I do actually try to think of it like from the parents' standpoint. So you've got the parents of the daughter that are like, what in the world is going on? Our daughter is traveling across the country. I mean, obviously they're in their 20s or something like that. So your kids are growing up and they're on their own. But then, I mean, I think that's the worst part about being a parent is wondering if my kid's going to grow up and then end up in a situation where she ends up in a relationship and the guy doesn't take, or treat her the right way. People cover things up. People they put up their own fences. They portray things the way they want to see them. And it's just, you wonder how rampant this is. And do you think that this stuff is a little bit more prevalent because for the last 18 months, all of our liberties have been under attack and people have had enough and they're cracking, and you don't want to see things like this happen. But when you add everything up and look at, from the crazy political situation to the fear mongering that goes on with, and the guilt trips that go along with COVID and must take care of your neighbor, whether or not we do or not. I don't know, man. I just think that people are on the verge of cracking. And I literally posted today on Facebook. I posted something like, dude, we're in the Matrix. I've never more felt like this is just some sophisticated programming to keep people all in line. We're going to roll out another story. We're going to do this. And it's constantly moving from one side to the other to just keep people in line. And I posted, I said, I'm not Neo. I'm not even pretending to be or even suggesting that I'm even the one. But I definitely relate to feeling like him. You know that part in the Matrix, the first one, of course, the first one, where he takes the red pill. And then he's like, what's going on? He touches the mirror and it's like, and then he it's like swallowing him like he's about to drown. The metal is like going down his throat. He's like, what's happening? And everything's distorting around him. And he's coming up out of his slumber, figuring out what's going on. And man, more so than ever, I feel like we're in the Matrix. And there are people pulling strings, man.
Having a tough time listening to you tell that story, because all I can think about, I don't know if it's me or if Matt, you were hearing that too. As soon as you started talking about the Matrix, your microphone was getting glitchy. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on?
What is even happening?
That was wild.
The glitch. That means they're changing something.
Oh, they're changing something in the Matrix. Here comes Agent Smith.
Mr. Anderson.
I love those movies.